St. Mark's High School, home of the Spartans. The third time we have been here this season. Once, of course, for a girls' high school basketball game between the St. Elizabeth Vikings and the Spartans of St. Mark's. And our last home game of the season right now for St. Mark's. And Coach introducing the cheerleaders. And these girls really go unnoticed throughout the season. They put as much time, if not more, than the ball players.
Oh, they do. They practice more than we did year-round, and they've gone away to many camps over the summer and won top awards along the Eastern Coast. 2 years ago when I was here as the head coach, they had the best cheerleading squad on the East Coast when they went to camp, and they work hard at it, and they're proud of their accomplishments, and that's why they're giving them their due respect here tonight. This, by the way, was supposed to be their last home game of the year, but I've just learned from Tom Rosa that they will be playing Howard here tomorrow night. It originally was supposed to be at Howard. I guess the reasoning is, number one, they like to play on the St. Mark's gym. Number two, there's a good shot Howard may be playing here for a tournament game, and it's not a bad place to warm up before the tournament.
That's a very good possibility for the Wildcats. Phil Hill has been introduced as a starting guard for Salesianum. Also, Dougie Ward out there. Hill will wear number 11 tonight. Ward will be wearing number 21. Hill a senior, Ward the junior. 4 kids started for Salesianum last year that will be starting this season. This man, Szymanski, has been the only non-starter from last year, but he has done a nice job for Salesianum. Seipel already out there, and also Mr. Jim Wells, 6'6", senior, very highly recruited throughout the state of Delaware. He is probably, right now, the most recruited player, of course, with Jesse Nash and Michael Brown already assigning their national letters of intent to basketball. The Naval Academy really hot on the heels of Jimmy Wells. He most likely will not make a decision until the season has been completed. Getting a look at all of the ball players for St. Mark's. That's Matt Janicki, number 40. Remember him, a very good football player, fullback for Jack Smiley. Rushed for over 1,000 yards this past season for the Spartans. Chris Homan is number 22. Number 4 is Tim Masker. He will be playing tonight. Tim Masker, number 4, a junior. Emmerich will be starting at a center. Andy Emmerich, number 42. Emmerich, a 6'4" senior. And, Coach, this is a very senior-oriented ball club. Barry Hart, also number 30. He's a junior.
All right, John's only going to have back about 3 or 4 players next year. He's got a good young squad. I was impressed with their talent they had down on the JV level. I think the thing they're going to be missing next year that they haven't had for a real long time is a real strong point guard in that senior class. They have one young man, Michael Rocca, that I think is going to develop into another fine point guard out of St. Mark's, but it looks like that's the thing they're going to be missing the most next year.
Andrew Bianchino and also Kevin Monagle, the 2 starting guards for St. Mark's. Back with your starting lineup right after this.
WNS-TV presents video concerts of the area's best bands. Tune in every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m.
St. Mark's High School, home of the Spartans. The Sallies of Salesianum come in here with a 18-1 overall record. John Bosick, Bob Immediato, the officials tonight from St. Mark's High. And this is a big game for both of these schools. You can throw the records out of the window, but tonight it happens to be Salesianum, the number 1 team in Delaware, a 17-game winning streak. And Jimmy Welch controlled the tap with Bianchino. Will track it down for the Spartans. Kevin Monagle and Bianchino will work at the guards, both seniors. Remember Barry Hart in there, number 30. He, of course, the brother of Cole Hart, a first-team All-Stater for the same man doing our color tonight, Mr. Joe Thompson, and he could really play, Cole Hart.
Oh, yeah. Cole had to be one of the best players out of St. Mark's in the school's history. He's doing an excellent job this year at Swarthmore. Interesting move right here. John tried to hold the ball on Angie and bring him out of his 2-3 zone to make him go man-to-man. And drew the foul early on Jimmy Welch.
Monagle got tied up. He will be shooting 2. Kevin on the season, a 61% free throw shooter, averaging 13 points a ball game. And Angie Rossi mentioned before the game, if Fiorelli and St. Mark's slows it down, Angie's just going to lay back in his basically a 2-1-2 zone.
Right. Angie doesn't have to win the game tonight. He's not going to come out and do anything foolish, but at the same time, interesting enough, he can use this game as a tune-up. Where in past years, this has been a tournament spot for either ball club. I think what you're going to see a lot tonight is some different things we may not have seen from Sallies during the year. He's going to do a little bit of experiment and get it ready for the AI game on Saturday night. He's going to be playing some zone. I imagine he's going to switch up and play some full court pressure as well. St. Mark's, on the other hand, I think you're going to see every defense that John's put in all year long. Again, with the philosophy, he's got nothing to lose. he's starting here in a man-to-man, which kind of surprises me because he's concerned about his inside people getting in foul trouble. But right there, it worked.
Barry Hart with a steal. Here comes Bianchino. He'll stop. 18-footer. Szymanski with the board. Kevin Szymanski, number 53. Very, very powerful inside for the Sallies. He's a senior. Phil Hill. Here's Welsh. Fall-away jumper. Can't get the bounce. Bianchino scrambling, and I believe Dougie Ward knocked it out of bounds for the Sallies.
Kevin Szymanski does so many things for the Sallies team a lot of people don't realize. That time, he got a rebound, brought the ball up the floor, and played out front for him down the offensive end and let Seipel and Welsh post up inside. Kevin's about as valuable as a fifth player as you want on a basketball team, and I've said before that you're as strong as your fifth player is.
Foul will be whistled inside. I believe Ward will pick this one up. Doug Ward will pick up his first, so the Sallies now with 2 team fouls. 6:45 to play first quarter. St. Mark's leading 2-0.
St. Mark's kids are going right out to the Sallies kids. Again, they have nothing to lose. I think they've got to aggressively go after them. They can't worry about getting themselves in foul trouble. They know they're down to their last couple games of the season. Right now, they're playing for pride, and they're playing for belief in themselves. And I think they've got to come out aggressively, which is exactly what they're doing.
Barry Hart gets 1 of 2. Barry, a 44% free throw shooter on the season, averaging 5 points a ball game. 6:35 to play first quarter. Kevin Szymanski, Seipel down low, and St. Mark's knocks it out of bounds. It will be Louisiana basketball under their own hoop.
2-3 zone that time. They've switched. I would imagine they're going to switch each time down the floor. You're going to see a chess match out here tonight because every time down the floor, offensively and defensively, both teams are going to have to be changing and adjusting. A lot more than what we've seen in maybe the last couple telecasts.
Louisiana plays very, very good basic basketball. Their big key is Jim Welsh, averaging 19.5. But Seipel and Hill can also score. Seipel averaging a dozen, Hill averaging about 11 a ball game. 6-minute mark, first quarter. Now Salesianum in their man-to-man. Here's Monagle, his first shot, well off. And Kevin Szymanski with the board. Szymanski, a bully type, but he can put it on the floor. Here's Phil Hill open. Sounds a little tight early. 3-0 St. Mark. Bianchino makes a move on Dougie Ward. What he traveling?
So not just tight, Steve. We've mentioned this on earlier broadcasts. A lot of teams don't like coming into St. Mark's. They're shooting at an open end right now. You don't have bleachers out. You don't have a wall right up next to your basket. It takes a little bit to get used to these baskets, and St. Mark's has to get out there and build up on that lead so they get a little bit of an advantage. They've got to take advantage of that whenever a team comes into the gym, and that's something you always try and emphasize. I know we did when I was here.
Welsh can't hit, and Monagle tracks it down.
The thing right now is both teams are doing a nice job rebounding. Everybody's getting one shot at the basket, and neither team's shooting well and getting one shot at the basket. The key's going to be who's starting to get the second rebounds, and their shots are going to fall early to get the lead.
Slocum being Keno, and a foul underneath. It looks like Barry Hart will pick it up. And if any team plays in a gym similar to this, I guess it's Salesianum, because they do have the second largest gym in Delaware right now.
Right, and they do have the one open end, except when they pull the bleachers out for the big games.
Last week, Salesianum knocked off Sanford and Delcastle. They trailed by 5 to Sanford late. Seipel will get the first Salesianum hoop, and a big following for Salesianum here tonight. I'm sure you'll be hearing them throughout the broadcast. Last week, Salesianum scored 25 points in the fourth quarter against Sanford, and then looked very, very strong against a respectable Delcastle club on Friday night.
A lot of people were questioning what was happening. They thought they might have peaked a little bit because they had a close game against Archmere and a close game against St. Elizabeth, two teams they had blown out early in the year. I don't think it was a case that they had already peaked. The fact was they just hadn't had as many games, and they just needed some stiff competition, and they finally found it against Delcastle and Sanford and made a big difference.
Slocum inside cannot score, and Seipel with the board. Here's Phil Hill, one of your top guards in the Catholic Conference this year. Phil, a 6-foot senior.
Phil has really made a nice adjustment to being a point guard for Angie's club. I know early in the year that was his big concern. I think Phil has made as good an adjustment from a second guard to a point guard as any young man I've seen in the state in the last 3 or 4 years. He's doing everything he has to at the same time. He's doing the scoring for him, and that was the big concern, that when they moved him out to that point, he wouldn't be getting his points as much. But that's a tribute to what Kevin Szymanski can do and what Doug Ward can do for the team, because either one of them can move out to that point and swing the ball over to Phil. He makes things happen for the Sallies club. I think he's one of their keys. I know Jimmy Walsh is a strong player, and I know Chris Snipe is a strong player for him, but without Phil in there, I think it's a little bit tougher running their offense and making things happen.
We're tied at 3. 4:41 to play, first quarter. Balance has been the trademark for Sallies.
Here's the full court press now we were talking about. I think you're going to see a lot of this tonight. They're playing on a big floor. They want to find out exactly how much of it they can do. The teams that win state tournaments can play a full court basketball game, and that's what Angie's got to find out.
Sallies with their first lead at 4-3. Remember, St. Mark's popped out to a quick advantage. Took a 3-0 lead. 4:20 to play first quarter.
This is Sally's strength now, the 2-3 zone, and they can sit in it now. Nice pass inside that time.
Bianchino, nice dump off to Barry Hart. Barry has 3. It's 5-4 Spartans. St. Mark's now at 10-7 overall in the season. They're 2-3 in the conference. Jimmy Welsh.
Getting St. Mark's in a little bit of trouble down low. They're running 2 men in low, and they're posting them both up, and that inside man, Andy Emmerich, got to make a decision. John's going to have to make an adjustment and bring somebody over to pick up that man. Nice pass inside that time.
Slocum. Boxed up and knocked out of bounds by Seipel. Seipel, number 51. 3:42 to play, first quarter. Very hard. Picked off by Phil Hill. Bianchino chasing, but excellent acceleration by Phil Hill, but Bianchino comes right back down and flick it away.
Phil Hill held up a little bit on that, right? He held up, he looked over his shoulder. He's got to go to the basket on that. He can't be thinking about getting Andrews any fouls right now. Phil definitely should have gone to the basket a little bit stronger that time, and I'm sure he'd like to have that one back.
There comes Bianchino. Crossover move, blocked, but Barry Hart right there. Gets fouled and gets it home. St. Mark's not playing like their last basketball game of the season. 3:30 to play, first quarter. Spartans could play Howard here tomorrow afternoon. And basically that's a tune-up game for Joe Hussey, as Coach Thompson commented earlier in the ball game. Of course, Howard in the tournament. They will be opening with Caesar Rodney. Very tough bid for the Wildcats. 3-point play for Barry Hart. It's 8-6. St. Mark's by a bucket. 3:20 left. Nice play. Hill, Seipel, Welsh. We're tied at 8.
Boy, that was as pretty a play as you'll see in basketball. Put the ball down to the low post, and the low post man turns and hits the high post man rolling. You're not going to see a prettier play than that on a high school level anyway.
Monagle. Hart. Slocum, 18-footer. Can't get it, and Welsh clears the board. Here comes Hill. Phil Hill, 8-footer. Slocum, Emmerich there. Welsh gets it back and puts it, Szymanski.
Szymanski, right.
Kevin Szymanski.
There's the difference right now. We talked about it a couple minutes ago. The point is that Sallies is getting the follow-ups right now and limiting St. Mark's to one shot down the other end of the floor. And they can't be having that if St. Mark's wants to stay in this ballgame. They're going to have to be hitting those boards.
Szymanski with his first field goal. He has a bucket, 2 points. Bianchino underneath, hits. Andrew Bianchino, his first field goal. We are tied at 10. 2:15 to play, first period. Szymanski. Drake getting set to come in for Salesianum. Here's Doug Ward. Phil Hill inside. Seipel lost control. Szymanski will track it down. 2 minutes, first period. Jimmy Welsh. Welsh off to a good start, has 6 points. 6'6" senior.
The difference between Jimmy Welsh's play this year and last year was Jimmy was a little bit inconsistent last year, and he also didn't like to get into a real physical ball game. He's got himself a little bit stronger this year. He's playing with more confidence. He's taking the ball to the basket. That's the big difference. He's playing consistently well in every game right now. I've yet to see Jimmy Welsh play a bad ball game. He may have had a couple spots we played bad, but overall he hasn't had a bad game yet this year.
Monagle hitting the long jumper. He has 4. We're tied at 12. 1:25 to play. Here's Welsh, left hand. Assist from Doug Ward. Welsh with 8. How does John Fiorelli attempt to adjust to Jimmy Welsh now?
I don't know, Steve. I'm just sitting here now saying earlier I wish I was sitting on the bench. I don't know what they're going to do to stop that play. They've got to sag a man in. They've got to take a guard off the outside, and they've got to start giving up the outside shot. I think if there's one weakness Sallies does have, or one you have to find out about, is their outside shooting. So they've got to sag more in on the big kid, and they've got to make them shoot from the outside. I think that's what they've got to do. I'll tell you, with the way Sallies is playing right now and the way they're moving the ball inside of Welsh, I might be kind of lucky I'm sitting over here instead of over there, I think. It's Sallies right now is doing everything according to the textbook. They're looking inside. Angie's really done a heck of a job getting them ready here to play here tonight.
Welsh and Ward sit down. Howley and Drake check in for Salesianum. Here's Drake, number 15, only a sophomore. Most likely will be the starting quarterback for Salesianum's football club next year. Started as a safety this past season for George Glenn.
Good athlete, and I know Angie's high on him as well. He's a very talented young man, and it's a name you'll probably be hearing about in 2 years. Howley was the goalie for the soccer team, so they got some good athletes on this ball club.
Seipo can't score, and he'll pick up a foul.
That's the kind of foul that hurts Chris. Chris has been doing that now for 2 years, and they need him in the game. He has a tendency to get himself in foul trouble. That time Angie was trying to get him in. Chris doesn't want those kind of fouls. That didn't affect the play at all, and I'm sure he's not happy with it, and hopefully he'll lay off of them when it comes tournament time. You know, as hard as all these kids work, you don't like to see kids get into tournament games have to sit on the bench with personal foul. They work too hard to get to that point.
Seipo checking out. Harrison now in, number 43 for Salesianum. That's about the depth of the south bench. We'll go 8 deep. 3 kids off the bench, Drake, Harrison, and Howley. Rossi has gone with the same starters all season. Barry Hart. Nice jumper by Barry Hart. He ties in 14. 10 seconds left, second period. And here comes Drake. 6 seconds. Still, Monagle, 3 seconds. He can get it off. It's going to count. Kevin Monagle at the gun. Big field goal for Monagle. St. Mark's leads after 8 minutes. Your score, Spartans 16, Sal's 14. Mission Price. And Coach, we're getting set for the boys tournament, which will open this Saturday at 4 sites. Double headers at 4 and 8 o'clock at 4 different buildings. And right now, Salesianum is scheduled to take on AI DuPont at Newark High School, 8 p.m. tip. That looks to be your top upstate game of this weekend.
I think it will be. It's 2 interesting teams. It depends how AI comes. If they come ready to play, it's going to be a great game. But we've had them. They've looked unbelievable. Then they go into another night and they lose the teams they shouldn't be. But if AI's at the top of their game, that's going to be a heck of a game. That could be the best opening round game, I think.
Here's Monagle to start the second period. AI finished third in blue hand play in Flight B. Jesse Nash, Willie Gentry, both all-conference performers for AI. Hill and Barry Hart getting tangled up, and Phil Hill will pick up the personal. Tough play there for Hill. Went very aggressive off the board and got tangled up with Hart. But Salesianum will pick up their 5th personal foul early here in the second period. We'll be shooting 1-and-1 now for St. Mark's throughout.
Now this will hurt Angie's strategy a little bit because he's not going to be able to fool around his man-to-man as much as he probably wanted to, or his full court press, because now he's starting to get a couple key people with a few fouls on him, and that definitely takes away from your game plan. Usually Sallies is on the line by now. They've shot 25 fouls usually on an average game, and it's different to see them not to the line yet. Of course, that's with their emphasis on their inside game as much as it is.
Barry Hart finished with 8 first quarter points. Welsh also with 8. He's back in there. Original starters now for Salesianum on the floor. Foul underneath against St. Mark's. They're going to whistle the senior guard, Kevin Monagle, for the Spartans. Monagle picking up his first. And the Spartans nearing the limit now. They have 3 team fouls with 7:28 to play second period. Phil Hill. Spartans will remain in their 2-1-2. And now Rizak looks like he's been inserted in the ball game to hawk Jimmy Welsh and really playing physically.
Right. Andy Emmerich usually has a tendency to commit a few fouls early in a quarter or late in a quarter, so I think John's strategy tonight is going to be to get him out of there in key spots and use Frasick inside on Welsh just to maybe upset his game a little bit. It's a little bit to an advantage if you can switch men defensively on a strong offensive player, because every defensive player will play a man differently. Gives him something to think about.
Ian Chino drills the 18-footer. Spartans by 4, 18-14, their biggest lead of the evening.
St. Mark's has really had a fine season this year, and I think John ought to really be happy with the season he has, whether he's gone to a tournament or not. He's beaten some awful good ball clubs this year. He's probably beaten, I'd say, well, when I last looked in the rankings, he's beaten 4 of the top 10 teams in the state, so he's got to be pleased with that. And one of the big reasons, I think, is the play of Andrew Bianchino.
Jim Welsh. Welsh in double figures, has 10 points. 6'6" senior.
He's also a fine start. He usually has a tendency in the Catholic Conference games not to start all strong, but tonight he's come ready to play. Don't think these kids don't know Andrew Rossi's going for their 100th win tonight. The way they respect him, and they'll do anything for this man, and I'm sure that's in the back of their minds, and they've been thinking about it all week long.
They have a celebration set down in the locker room if they can pull this one out. 18-16. Spartans by 2. Phil Hill rejecting Kevin Monagle. And Andy Emmerich gets it right back and puts it down.
The old ooh-ah again. Lou Bender's famous comment. He's sitting here right next to me, and first thing he turned and said to me, it's the crowd reacts with the ooh when the shot gets blocked, and then the ah when it goes back in again.
Patented. It goes very hard.
Andy can't be happy with that shot. Somebody took a weak side shot that time, and nobody on a weak side rebound.
Monagle.
He's going to have to call a timeout right now and calm them down. He's letting St. Mark's do what they want at will. And here is the timeout. He's got to sit down and start talking to these kids and letting them know that St. Mark's is here ready to play. And I'll tell you, if they keep shooting like they are right now, we're in for a heck of a ball game.
Monagle with a very good start, and St. Mark's with a 6-point lead at 22.
Game. They don't know, but I think that's something you just got to deal with after the game's over. You know, I guess I shouldn't say too much about it, because I really question that rule. I think if a team's going to go to a tournament, they've got to win a game to go to it. Granted, Archmere beat St. Mark's twice this year, and I'm not taking anything away from the fine job Vince Stillman's done, but I think when it gets down to deciding whether a team should go or not, you should add an extra night and have a playoff game. I think that's the only fair way to do it. It'd be different if they were tied with 2 spots, but that's not the case now. It's 1 spot.
Same thing happened. Nice play by Dougie Ward. Same thing happened identically in Flight A. Glasgow and Dickinson both finished at 8 and 6, but Dickinson knocked off Glasgow twice in the regular season, right. So the Rams automatically got the berth.
And even so, you know, if you look at their records, they've each beaten some teams and lost to some teams, and I guess that's the way the tournament decided to do it, and that's what you got to go with.
Slocum, nice feed to Emmerich, and an offensive foul on Andy Emmerich.
Good call that time. Nice job by Jimmy Welch. He took the man square onto his shoulders, and Andy Emmerich got a little bit too anxious and lunged into the man instead of going straight up with him. But you're going to see a lot of people on the floor tonight. This floor won't be dirty when these 2 teams leave here tonight. You can be guaranteed that.
5:19 to play, second period. WNS TV, Cable Channel 2, bringing you high school basketball 83. Tonight from St. Mark's High School, it's the Spartans and the Sallies in a big Catholic Conference showdown. Right now, Salesianum at 18-1 over on the season. St. Mark's coming in at 10-7. Salesianum, #1 team in Delaware, and Emmerich with a nice job knocking the ball away from Jimmy Welch. Salesianum with 17 consecutive victories. They lost their 2nd game of the season to Newark.
And they've beaten some awful good ball clubs this year. They've beaten your 2 top teams in Flight B.
Wilmington Howard.
They've beaten your 3 top teams in Flight A, or excuse me, 2 top teams in Flight A. They've beaten Concord. They've beaten Newark. You know, a lot of people say
lost to Newark. Sorry,
beat William Penn. Beat William Penn, first and second place team. You know, a lot of people say, well, they're 18-1. Who have they played? I don't understand how people can say that, but I think they played as strong a schedule as anybody has in the state. Every conference has their strong teams and weak teams, but the non-conference teams, they've got to play most of the stronger teams in the Blue Hen if they want to pick their games up.
Salesianum, of course, beating Concord, and Concord the Flight A champion.
Beat Concord easily early in the year. I think they got to forget that game, though. Yeah. Concord's a different kind of ball club right now. Billy's really done a nice job bringing his kids along, and they're hitting a peak right now. I think when you look at the tournament time, Concord's definitely going to have to be one of the favorites going into the tournament.
I'd like to congratulate Bill McLaughlin, also Craig Rotundo. They were voted the Flight A Coaches of the Year.
And also I'd like to congratulate Gene Thompson for his fine win Saturday. Pulled off a great win over Telcastle. I wasn't there, but I heard it was a great ball game, and he should be proud of that. I know how many years he's worked hard to try and win that Flight B conference, and it's a tribute to the job he's done with his kids and the teamwork that I was really impressed with when I saw Wilmington High play last week.
60-59 victory against Howard. Barry Hart is fouled by Doug Ward, and Barry will go to the line to shoot a pair.
I tell you, John's got to be happy where he is right now. He's got Angie playing him man-to-man. Angie does not want to play St. Mark's man-to-man. Most teams do not like playing St. Mark's man-to-man. Traditionally, they've been known as a team that can penetrate and drive hard to the basket and be patient enough to work for the layup. Angie's strength is a 2-3 zone. Not only that, you combine that with the fact that he's got people in foul trouble. St. Mark's can afford to be patient right now. They've got the lead. They've got Angie playing the man-to-man. Could be trouble for him if somebody picks up that third foul and he's not hoping they get.
Lane violation against St. Mark's. Barry Hart having a very good first half. Spartans up by 3, 23-20. Barry Hart with 9 points to lead the Spartans. Welsh now with a dozen. Here's Jimmy inside, over Rizak. Can't get the bounce, but Seipel right there off fire.
Boy, was that a nice play that time. Seipel couldn't get the rebound. What he did was tip it up in the air and went up for it the second time and got it. That was an awful beautiful play that Chris Seipel just came up with right there. There's where Sallies beats you. You key on Welsh and try and stop Welsh, and then Seipel gets a follow-up.
Monaco.
You're seeing right now the strength of the two teams. Sally's inside game against St. Mark's outside game. Monaco and Bianchino are carrying the load outside for St. Mark's. Welsh and Seipel are carrying the load inside.
Offensive charge against Jimmy Welsh. St. Mark's has played very tough defense inside tonight. Welsh picking up his first. Monaco with 10 points now. So Monaco, Barry Hart have 10 and 9 points respectively.
What you like to see when two clubs play each other. Both their hot scorers are carrying the clubs right now. Monaco for St. Mark's and Welsh for Salesianum, and that's exactly what it should be like.
Offensive foul against Welsh will come back the other way and shoot 1-1 with 3:52 to play second period. John Fiorelli in his first year at St. Mark's, taking over for Mr. Jay Thompson from the season ago.
And like I said, you know, he's done a great job. We've talked a lot during the off-season, and I know he's excited about the season. And I can't say enough for the job I think John's done here at St. Mark's. He wasn't expected to have a good year, and he's just doing a super job. And he's worked hard at it, and I think he deserves an awful lot of credit. I think his kids deserve a lot of credit, and I'm sure the school's very proud of the job they've done this year.
Slocum getting 1 of 2 for his first point of the night. St. Mark's by 4, 26-23. Szymanski. Rizak trying to guard Welsh, and Jimmy misses the left-hander. It seems as if Salesianum has done what they've wanted to do inside, getting the ball inside to Welsh.
They're getting it in there right now, and that's something John's probably going to have to talk about at halftime. The shots aren't dropping for them right now, but they can't afford to let them start dropping, because that's going to spell trouble for them. And when they're not dropping, Seipel on the weak side, so they got to keep the ball out of the inside so that they can create those opportunities inside.
2:55 to play second period.
Here's that patient man-to-man offense now that St. Mark's will run, and the kids work it every day. They know that they've got to look for the good shot. This is the disciplined type of offense that I was talking about. This is what has been able to let them beat some good clubs this year that they probably shouldn't have had anything to do with.
And Jude Bianchino, nice move down the lane. Bianchino at 5'8". Beautiful play.
Held the ball for 25 seconds that time, got a layup, possible three-point play. You do that every time down the floor, you're going to go in with a halftime lead. Even if you don't score every time, the clock will always work to your advantage in that situation.
Bianchino looking for the three-point play. St. Mark's by 6.
The point I was making earlier, Steve, was the fact that both these teams play such a disciplined style of game that they usually can stay close with most teams, especially teams that like to run up and down the floor, because they can slow that tempo down, which most teams aren't accustomed to doing.
Drake now in for Doug Ward. Spartan showing a little bit of pressure there. Here's Hill. Quick move inside. Can't get the 8-footer. Here come the Spartans. Slocum, Bianchino. They'll stop and fire. Up fire. Spartans on fire. Now comes the half-court pressure. Almost three-quarter court. Hill will break the press. And Szymanski at the 2-minute mark. St. Mark's with their biggest lead, 31-22. Salesianum with a 17-game winning streak on the line tonight. Szymanski. Szymanski, his second field goal, has 4. Give the assist to number 11, Phil Hill.
Kevin's going to have to hit that shot because what St. Mark's has done now, sagged in on Welsh and Saipo like we talked about earlier, and they're giving Szymanski the weak side jumper. Kevin's going to have to hit that for Sallies to cut into this lead.
Barry Hart. Bianchino gets free. Hits! Andrew Bianchino.
He's on fire right now. I'm telling you, him and Monagle, between the two of them, I don't think they've missed a shot in the last 4 minutes, and this is what's won them ball games all year long, and they've been doing it successfully. It's not a fact that they're just making all their shots right now.
A lot of contact underneath. Going to give it to Salesiano. 9 second period points for Bianchino.
You see the double team that time inside on Welsh, and what John's now done, he's made a nice adjustment. He's going to force those people to take the shots from the outside.
Seipel and Welsh get a breather. Harrison and Halley check in for Salesiano.
It's interesting right now. John's got 3 starters on the bench. Or I'm sorry, Angie has 3 starters on the bench. He's down by 9 with a minute to go.
Szymanski trying to dump inside to Harrison, and here come the Spartans. 2-on-1. Monagle will go over Drake. And a charging call on Kevin Monagle. 57 seconds to play, second period.
Let's just say I didn't see that one, Steve.
Fair enough. 33-24, Spartans by 9.
And we don't have the instant replay either, so we
I
don't
know
have to
you're
worry
looking
about it,
right? In the future, we will have that for you here on Channel 2. 33-24, Spartans by 9 points. St. Mark's coming off a very difficult loss to Arch now on Friday night on the road up in Claymont. That game basically decided the number 2 spot in Catholic Conference play. Drake cannot hit the front end. 50 seconds left. Now Slocum going through some traffic. And we have a foul on the pass. I believe Slocum will be shooting 1-and-1 with 50 seconds left. Salesianum has wrapped up the Catholic Conference Championship. They are 5-0 right now in the conference. Larchmere finishing at 3-3. And these same Spartans of St. Mark's currently at 2-3. Slocum now with 2 points. Bangs the pair home. Spartans by 11. Remember, Salesianum had the same problem last week on Tuesday evening against Sanford, the independent conference champs. Now Drake in trouble. Szymanski, nice catch by Halley. And a foul on Barry Hart. Hart will pick up his second personal. And now both clubs over the limit.
Good move by John. Sallies has their top 2 ball handlers on the bench right now, and they've got 4 starters on the bench now, and this is a good move by John. John's going to come out and half-court press them and hope they throw the ball away. I'm sure right now Angie probably has these seniors sitting on the bench kind of taking in the scenery here a little bit and having themselves question exactly what's going on here. Sometimes you need to step away from the action a little bit and sit and watch it, and that's something he's probably discussing with them over there. John, on the other hand, is going to take this as an opportunity to give a little bit of full court and half-court press.
Tim Masker in there now, number 4 for St. Mark's, just handling the basketball. Here's Bianchino. 27 seconds to play, second period. St. Mark's can go out of the second quarter with a 13-point advantage if they can convert here. Bianchino with 11 points, 9 here in the second period. 15 seconds left. Masker, Slocum, Bianchino. 8 seconds. Masker gets tangled up. Bianchino with 3 seconds. Long bomb from the corner. Well off, and I believe Bianchino stepped on the baseline. We have completed 16 minutes from St. Mark's. They brought the drum section out here in the second period for St. Mark's. Spartans have played great basketball, 35-24. Monagle, Hart, and also B and Keno have really played well offensively.
They're playing well. The key is they can't stop and think what they're doing right now. They just got to keep going out there and playing, and that's the difference right now. Sallies is coming out. They're playing a little bit tight. They know they got their tournament game to get ready for, and they know that Andrew's going for his 100th win. You know, so what's happened is they kind of put themselves in a little bit of a pressure situation. St. Mark's, on the other hand, comes up on the floor. They know they've got nothing to lose. They're playing a team that's ranked #1 in the state. They're supposed to get beat tonight, and they're coming out and playing like it. They're out there having a lot of fun right now. He's going deep onto his bench. He's doing a lot of different things, and that makes the big difference.
We are at halftime from St. Mark's High School. Your score right now, St. Mark's 35, Salesianum 24. Remember, the Spartans not in the tournament this year. They are playing for pride. Salesianum trying to continue a 17-game winning streak. We will return right after these important messages. Back at St. Mark's at halftime, the Spartans leading 35-24 over the Sallies of Salesianum. Steve Turnberger with Joe Thompson, and at this time we'd like to preview the 1983 state tournament very quickly. Our first ball game, Coach Concord, the Flight A champion led by Bill McLaughlin, will be taking on either Laurel or Seaford, and that game will be played at Del Castle at 8 o'clock.
I don't think it matters whether it's Laurel or Seaford. Concord is just starting to peak just at the right time. It should be interesting to see what happens tomorrow night in the Flight A, Flight B championship game, but they're playing on Del Castle's floor. Concord's been there before. I look for a big win on Del Castle's floor.
Kenny Reynolds, Steve Huff, Mike Rousey, three very experienced ball players for Bill McLaughlin. Howard, the Flight B #2 team, will travel and take on Caesar Rodney. This game will be either at Seaford or Dover, and Howard coming off two emotional losses to Wilmington, first in the regular season finale and then in the Flight B championship game. Joe Hussey really has to get his club back on their heels.
Huss is going to have them ready because this is a grudge match. CR knocked Howard out of the tournament last year, and Howard had a very good team going into it.
In the first round.
Right, and I think Huss is going to have them ready to go. CR, I think you have to call the dark horse of the tournament. Them and Woodbridge coming from downstate, but CR is going to run a very patient game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. The key will be how Michael Brown does. I don't think CR has anybody stop him. Michael Brown gets the ball down low and scores. I think it could be Howard's game. If not, if Michael Brown doesn't score over 15, CR will win the game.
That's a comment from Joe Thompson, and Mike Brown has not been playing the inside game. He did not play in either ball game against Wilmington in the two losses. Your third game in the upper bracket, Salesianum against AI DuPont at Newark. This is a real good matchup, probably your best upstate matchup between two upstate schools. Sal's #1 team in Catholic Conference, Blue Hen Conference #3 team in Flight B, AI with Nash and Gentry. It's going to be a good ball game.
I think it is. AI, inconsistent. That sums up what a lot of upstate teams are playing like this year. Salesianum right now is not playing the kind of game that they want to be playing. If they end up losing this ball game tonight, I don't think I'd want to be AI Saturday. I think it's going to be a question of how they can control Jesse Nash outside. I think Sally's is going to play much more of a full-court game than they usually play to get Nash to give the ball up. It's going to be Walsh's scoring against Nash's scoring. I think they're going to balance out. The difference is going to be Sally's with Hill and Seipel will score more than what AI's next two players can do, and that's going to be the difference. So I look for Sally's to win that game.
You're looking at Salesianum right now, the #1 team in Delaware, riding a 17-game winning streak, down by 11 here at halftime against St. Mark's. Your final game in the upper bracket is Woodbridge, the Henlopen Southern Division #1 club, taking on Dickinson, the #4 team in Flight A this season, with an 8-6 conference record at Seaford. Woodbridge has been very tough late down the stretch, coming in right now at 17-3. Dickinson started off very nicely last year, and they wound up in the same #4 spot in Flight A and made it to the semifinals.
Another big ball game. I think a lot of it depends on what happens tomorrow night when Woodbridge plays Cape. If Woodbridge beats Cape, I don't think it'll be a game. I think Woodbridge is going to handle Dickinson having to go downstate. If Woodbridge gets blown out tomorrow night, I give the game to Dickinson. So I'm going to look at what happens tomorrow night. I expect Cape to win. I think it's going to be a tight game. Dickinson's going downstate. I'll give it to Woodbridge. Okay, I don't know how many downstate teams are going to be in those semis, and I said earlier in the year I didn't think there's going to be any, but just because of the fact they are going downstate and Dickinson has not played well on the road this year, I think Woodbridge is going to win that one.
Dickinson on the road, they're going to be tough. Derek Tan, Thaddeus Cannon, and the Miles brothers, Marcel and Marcus, leading that ball club. Will be going down to Seaford, 8 o'clock tip against Woodbridge. In the lower bracket, your Blue Hen Conference champion in Flight B, Wilmington, will be taking on the #3 club in Henlopen North Play, Sussex Central. This game will be at Newark. Neither club has played on the Newark floor, but Wilmington, they have to be way up on cloud 9 right now.
No game. That's going to be the widest margin game of the first round. Wilmington right now has hit a peak like nobody's hit this year. They came up with 2 big wins against Howard. They hadn't even beaten Howard in a couple of years and knocked them off twice within the space of 3 days. I think they believe right now they can beat anybody. Wilmington has always been a good tournament team. Gene's going to have them ready to go. I think they believe that right now after the wins over Howard they can win the tournament, and especially this first round game against Sussex Central. Sussex Central has not had the kind of strong year you see a Henlopen Northern team come out with this year, and I think it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be low scoring. Ace House team's going to hold the ball, I think.
Wilmington with Tony Tucker, everybody knows him, but Charlie Saunders and Ricky Henry have played very well, and the youngster Thurston Campbell hitting 2 big free throws to knock off Howard. This is a good Wilmington club, a lot of balance that people don't know about.
Good club. The only thing going to hurt them is they don't go real deep. I think depth's going to be the big deciding factor as you're getting down into the semifinals and final games. I think that's the only thing that can hurt Wilmington. I'll tell you the thing I think might carry them. Charlie Saunders has a good tournament. People are going to have to look out for Wilmington. I think he's the key. Tony Tucker, you know, is going to score his 20. He's going to give them the leadership they need. I think if Charlie Saunders gives them a couple games like he did when we saw him against Howard, they're going to be a team to reckon with in the tournament.
Tucker averaging close to 27. Saunders, biggest man for Wilmington right now at 6'8". Your Flight A number 3 club, Newark, will be taking on Sanford, the independent conference champion, and a big key here could be experience. Newark, the defending state champions from 1982. A lot of their kids on this club played in that championship game.
I think he summed it up, that game. It's going to be the experience in Newark. Sanford's never been to a tournament. And unless you've been there, it's a whole different ball game. It's a different week of preparation. It's a different week of getting ready to play the ball clubs. The game night itself is a completely different atmosphere for the kids. It's going to depend what Guild does to get his kids ready to go. I think they're going to give Newark a game, but I think Newark's depth number 1, and I think the experience is going to be the deciding factor in that game. So I have to go with Newark.
Jim Duty's club slipping with late losses to Concord and William Penn. They dropped from a good shot at taking the title down to 3rd, but look for Newark to be very strong this Saturday. That game will be at Del Castle at 4 in the afternoon. Ty Henry leads Sanford. Cape Henlopen, the Henlopen Conference Northern Division champ, will be taking on Archmere at Dover, and 2 very contrasting styles here. Vince Philbin, the slowdown game. Cape likes to run and gun.
Vince will slow it down, but he likes to play a full-court game with the best of them, and he went downstate last year and tried a full-court game and came away with a big loss. A Catholic team has not gone downstate. A Catholic Conference team has not gone downstate and won in that first round for a long, long time. I think it's because of 2 factors. Number 1, you're playing Cape, who's probably one of the best tournament teams around. Number 2, you're going downstate, which is a factor. It's intimidating. The crowd's intimidating, the site's intimidating, and you're playing a good ball club that's intimidating. Cape's going to win a big one, I think. Archmere has had a couple tough games late in the year. I don't think they're ready for that kind of crowd, but they've been there already. So I don't think they're going to lose like they did last year, but I think it's going to be Cape. I think Cape believes that they're hitting their peak right now, and they're ready to win some big ball games in the tournament. They've got to prove that the downstate teams can play with the upstate teams.
Donovan leading Cape. Remember, he was the starting quarterback for the Viking Football Club. Archmere, the number 2 team in Catholic Conference play, 3-3 in the conference. They are 17-3 overall in the season. And your final matchup, William Penn, Craig Rotundo's club, coming on very strongly down the stretch. They will be taking on either Seaford or Laurel. This game will be held at Dover, and you got to give the downstate advantage to Laurel or Seaford. William Penn, number 2 club in Flight A, having to travel downstate.
I've talked to 4 different people, coaches and 4 different people, I mean coaches and officials. They all feel that when William Penn plays well, they're better than anybody in the state. We had them one night against Dickinson, and I feel the same way. The key is going to be, can William Penn play 4 good games in a row? I haven't seen them do that all year long. I don't think they've won 4 games in a row too many times this year. Going downstate's going to make a difference, but I think in this case, William Penn's going to have the talent. The thing about William Penn is that I think it's going to help carry them in the tournament is they can go deeper than anybody we've had on TV. We've seen them go 10, 11 players deep. Sure. That's going to be the key. I think William Penn's going to win the game based on the fact that they like to run. Seaford likes to run. Laurel likes to run. But William Penn can run with the best of them when they can go 11 people deep, and that's going to be the difference, I think.
And Kenny Norwood, possibly a first-team All-Stater for Seaford, averaging about 25 a ball game. He's got to have a big night for the Blue Jays if Seaford's in it.
He did, and they were the surprise of the tournament last year. But I think this year they're playing what I consider to be the surprise of the tournament. I think William Penn has to be the leading dark horse contender. You know, they're second place Flight A, but Flight A was so close. You know, anybody can win it out of there, and it's going to be interesting.
William Penn with an 11-3 record in Flight A. Not a very impressive overall record, but remember, I believe they started at 1-4. P.J. Lee, Tony Gardner, Williams Pinkett, at the guards, and Ty King coming off the bench for William Penn. They are going to be very tough. They are your matchups. 4 doubleheaders at 4 different sites around the state of Delaware. Remember, they are single admission matchups. We will start our coverage on Thursday, March the 10th, with a semifinal game. Give me the Final Four.
Final Four.
I know you want 4 upstate clubs.
I think I have to go with Concord, Salesianum, Wilmington, and
William Penn.
I'll go with Cape.
You're going to go with
I'll take
Cape.
one down.
Okay. All righty. We will see a semifinal game here on Friday, March the 11th, an 8 p.m. tip, and then we'll be in the Fieldhouse on Saturday, March the 12th. We'll come back with your second half tip-off. The Sallies and the Spartans of St. Mark's. Currently, St. Mark's leading by 11 at the half. The Spartans and the Sallies. Final holy war of the season. Catholic Conference play. St. Mark's 35, Salesianum 24 at halftime. Remember, it was St. Mark's 16, Sal's 14 after 1.
Would have been a nice touch, Steve. You know how CBS gets those halftime interviews with the coaches and sees what they're saying to their teams? I would like to have been in Sally's locker room. I'm sure they had to have a few things straightened out there, and they look like they came out ready to play the second half here.
Angie wouldn't have let us in the locker room at halftime, I don't believe. Just underway third period. There's Kevin Monagle over Phil Hill. And Dougie Wood comes down with the rebound. So Salesianum at 18-1 overall in the season, their final regular season appearance. They will be going to the tournament right now, the #1 team in Delaware, and Sal's with their first turnover here in the third period. Barry Hart with 9 points for St. Mark's, Kevin Monagle with 10, and this man, Andrew Bianchino, led all scorers for St. Mark's with 11 at halftime. Bianchino with 9 second quarter points. And Slocum heads.
Sal's just come out in a man-to-man. They're going right into St. Mark's weaknesses, but I'm sure Angie figures that if he doesn't play man-to-man, John's going to force him into it, and he can't afford to waste a lot of time right now and let John sit on the ball a little bit.
Bianchino averaging 9 a ball game. Jimmy Welsh on the follow, and he got hammered.
Sallies has to make things happen. We've talked about this on earlier broadcasts. You can't emphasize to the kids that they've got to make up a lead all at once. They're not going to make up 11 points in any short amount of time. What they've got to do is they've got to try and cut the lead in half, halfway through the quarter, and that's what their goal's got to be. You cut it in half, halfway through, and then you try and cut it in half again, midway through that quarter again. So you've got to keep emphasizing that to the kids. High school kids have a tendency to try and do too much at once, and you don't want to do that. On the other hand, St. Mark's has to be content with simply building on their lead. John's got to tell his kids that he doesn't want them to make any mistakes defensively to give easy baskets up. But even if they do, they've got to make They've got to make a large number of mistakes before Sallies can catch up to them, and that's probably what he emphasized to them at halftime.
Jimmy Welsh now with 14 of the Salesianum 26 points. Travel call against the Spartans. And I don't think Salesianum is anywhere near rattled at this point. They had the same situation last week against Sanford, down by 5 after 3.
I think this team believes they can win games. The only thing is that somebody's going to sneak up and they're going to hold on to a lead on them. But the last 3 or 4 games, they've come from behind because of the fact they've got so much confidence in themselves. They actually believe that they're going to win any game they're in right now, and that's what's making them such a tough team. But you're going to run into a team that's disciplined and talented like St. Mark's is, and they're going to run into a little bit of trouble, and I think that's what's happening right now. That's why they don't appear rattled. That's a sign of a very experienced ball club as well. Inexperienced teams will get rattled. Experienced teams will not. They know that their time will come when they're going to get hot. They've got to wait for it, and we still haven't seen Sallies come out with a real streak of scoring yet, whereas we've seen it from the St. Mark's side, so the experienced kids are probably waiting for that as well.
St. Mark's in their 2-1-2 with Rizak really hawking on Jimmy Welsh now. Welsh, here's Welsh, number 55, and we have a personal foul call.
Sallies does an excellent job of trying to hit the man on the strong side. By that I mean Jimmy Welsh will flash to the strong side, look for the ball, and if he can't get it on that side, they do as good a job as anybody I've seen get the ball to Jimmy cutting to the weak side. That's where the vulnerability is in your zone anyway, and that's what they'll do. If you're watching and you want to see how Welsh gets the ball, that's usually how they'll do it. They'll try and get it to him on the strong side, swing it quickly to the weak side, and slip the ball in.
Jimmy Welsh with 14 points. He'll shoot 2.
This is another thing that's won games for Sallies this year. They've had the ability to really really hurt teams from the foul line. They shoot, I'd say, as a team over 70% from the line, and they're usually making over 20 to 25 fouls a game. Tonight, I don't think they're shooting as strong from the foul line as they have in the past few games.
They have struggled in the first half and also the first 90 seconds here in the third period.
That's also a sign of experience, though. An experienced team will shoot well from the foul line. Teams have to shoot well from the foul line this time of the year because you get into tournament games where teams are evenly matched. That's where a lot of games are going to be won.
6 minutes to play, third period. A charging foul against Barry Hart. Jim Welsh playing both ends of the floor now for Salesianum, and Barry Hart will pick up his third, and the Spartans not really that deep on the bench.
John can't go that deep, and that is going to hurt him. Barry's been making a lot of things happen for them defensively. That time he tried to force the action a little bit too much and get baseline. Jimmy Welsh got down there and put his foot on the baseline and took the charge.
Phil Hill, senior point guard for Salesianum. Kevin Szymanski. Doug Ward with 5:50 left. Sal's down by 10. Here's Welsh from outside. Jimmy Welsh. Off to one of his bigger ball games of the season. Welsh averaging 19.5 a contest. And at last look, that's not really even in the top 10 right now throughout the state of Delaware. Some players are really filling it up. George Kale averaging over 30. Tony Tucker over 28. Jesse Nash is right up there. Perry Alice out of Tatnall. Pritchett out of Sussex Central. Some big scores this year.
Interesting point there, Steve. Not to take anything away from those big scores, but most of the big scores in the state aren't playing for the teams with the real strong records. The teams with the real strong records this year are putting the clubs on the floor that have 4 or 5 strong players that are averaging about maybe 10 to 15 points a game. That's not unusual in the high school action, to have a strong scorer and then not maybe have a couple people in the secondary roles.
Hemrick with 2 field goals has 4 points. 5:10 left. Doug Ward picking up a personal foul, his 4th. I'm sure we'll see Drake. Here's Drake popping off the Salesiana bench, number 15. Five minutes to play, third period. St. Mark's 39, Salesianum 29. Spartans held an 11-point advantage at 35-24 at halftime. Nice crowd on hand here at St. Mark's. Remember, this is a very big gym. They can put about 2,400 here at St. Mark's when they stand them up around the ends. Look at Monagle, Bianchino at the guards. Here's Andrew, tough shot.
Guys aren't going to be happy with that one, and I know Andrew, and he's running down the floor now shaking his head. They can't have those kind of shots. They've got to be patient and get the layups because Sallies are so strong on the board that, as you can see, they're going to get those follow-ups every time.
Drake, nice bounce pass to Welsh, so Welsh can't convert. And here's Monagle. Welsh now with 15. Monagle will fire. Air ball.
St. Mark's guards right now, a lot of people might question the shots they are taking, but you got to remember, this is what got them the lead. The first and second quarters, Kevin and Andrew were hitting those shots, and they've got to keep going to that. That's their strength, is their outside game with their guards.
Seipo can't hit. And Slocum with the board.
Both teams doing an excellent job of defensive rebounding right now. We're not seeing too many second shots, and that's the thing that'll kill you more than anything else, is giving up that second shot.
St. Mark's at 10-7 overall. Bianchino. Andrew Bianchino. He has 13. 3:35 to play. Third period. St. Mark's back up again by a dozen. 41-29. Here's Drake, his first shot. He hits. The sophomore.
Big shot for a sophomore to make, and he needed that. He came in the first half and looked a little bit nervous, not as aggressive as he probably should.
And Drake running over Monagle. Good play by the senior. That's an experience factor right there. Monagle catching Drake, not really watching exactly where he was going crossing the key, and Monagle just got the position.
That's exactly what that was. Kevin kind of gave a little smile. He knew he got away with it, and it was a nice job at times. Drake came a little bit too aggressively, and you can't do that.
3:18 to play, third period. 41-31. St. Mark's by 10. Bianchino over Drake this time. And Slocum has 6.
Chris Slocum's probably the young sung hero on the St. Mark's Ball Club. He does so many things for them. He plays almost the same role that Kevin Szymanski does down at the other end for Salesianum. When the ball's on the floor, Chris is going to be there. He's always hitting the boards. Does an excellent job for him.
Bianchino answers right back.
This has been the story again. St. Mark's from the outside, Jimmy Welsh from the inside. That's been the whole key to the ball game right now.
Andy with 15. McLaughlin getting set for Salesianum. Drake down low. Off flat. That's going to be a good one.
Nice pass by Jimmy Welsh. Jimmy is a good passer. Usually they're getting him the ball, but that was an excellent look inside that time and a nice dump off. Drake's giving him a nice lift right now. He's come off the bench and giving them 4 big points, and they're going to need that from their bench, especially come tournament time.
Emmerich. Here's Slocum. He'll go on Szymanski and a foul on Slocum. McLaughlin will check in for Drake now. McLaughlin, the 4th man off the Salesianum bench. He'll wear number 31. St. Mark's 45. Salesianum 35. Chris Homan is checked in for Rizak. Homan will wear number 22. Phil Hill with the basketball. His club down by 10 with under 2 minutes to play third period. Kicking violation against the Spartans.
John's made a nice adjustment at halftime, and they really are keying on Jimmy Welsh. What they're doing right now is they're fronting him. They're forcing Sallies to lob the ball into him. What they've got to look for is the weak side help and hope they can come up with a steal.
Hill. Nice play by Hill inside Welsh.
Goal's good. Goal's good that time. He got fouled on the inside on the pass. That's where they get the ball into him. We've mentioned it earlier now. They swing the ball to the weak side, and if they're swinging, Jimmy will roll to the ball. That's exactly what they got that time.
Welsh with an even 20.
Jimmy did a nice job of pinning the man on his back that time, and that's how he got open.
Welsh, the state high jump champion, his sophomore year. Cannot convert the 3-point play, and Emmerich with the board.
It's a big basket right now for St. Mark's. They maintain that 10-point margin if they can, enable them to do a lot more with the basketball. They're going to be patient now. John's going to probably set up some kind of special play, hopefully to get somebody isolated on the outside so they can drive to the layup.
1:20 to play, third period. St. Mark's with a basketball and an 8-point advantage, 45-37.
Okay, what he's running right now is his delay game.
Homan, nice job by Homan, but he traveled.
John's in a delay game right now. It's not a strict delay game where they're not holding the ball and trying to go for any shot. But what they are doing is they're going to try and eat up a little bit of time on the clock. They've got the 8-point lead. Sallies now definitely wants to cut it to 6. That'll cut that lead in half that we talked about in the beginning of the second half.
McLaughlin had it knocked out of bounds by a Spartan. St. Mark's 45, Salesianum 37. St. Mark's led by 2 after 8 minutes, by 11 at halftime. Here's Welsh on a feed from Seipel. Personal foul will be whistled, I believe, against Monagle. Monagle will pick it up, his third. So now Kevin Monagle with 3, Barry Hart with 4. Both in foul trouble for John Fiorelli.
John can't afford to have Kevin on the bench, that's for sure. He's getting the leadership they've needed all year long. He's got to get him out now with a minute to go. That's a big foul right there.
Masker will pop off the Spartan bench. Tim Masker, number 4, in for Kevin Monagle.
What you have right now is Doug Ward with 4 on the Sallies bench, Kevin Monagle with 4 on the St. Mark's bench. St. Mark's is definitely losing out there. Doug Ward does a lot for the Sallies club, but he doesn't give the leadership that Kevin Monagle gives to the St. Mark's club.
Jim Welsh with 21 points. Average on the season right now at 19.5. Welsh gets 1 of 2. Szymanski with a board, but a steal by Bianchino. 55 seconds to play, and Andy and possibly his last performance here at St. Mark's, really turning in a good effort.
He's always there when they need him, and that's been his strength all year long.
40 seconds left. Masker. Spartan lead has been trimmed to 7, and McLaughlin very aggressively going for a steal, but lost his footing and ran over Bianchino.
Good hustle that time. It'll still be possession, so that was a good hustle by McLaughlin. He's got to try and get the ball if he can. Sallies wants to try and get that lead underneath the 6-point mark. As we mentioned, that would be cutting the lead in half over the course of the quarter.
Spartans now over the limit. Salesianum with 14 fouls. Slocum, Masker. 20 seconds left. Bianchino. Spartans very content to let the clock run down here. Here's Homan inside. Nice bounce pass. Emmer could not control. Bianchino, foul line extended.
Andrew Bianchino is on fire for St. Mark's right now. I don't think he's missed maybe 3 or 4 shots from the floor all night.
Phil Hill from deep at the gun. Can't get it to fall. Andrew Bianchino with 17 points. 17-game winning streak in jeopardy from St. Mark's. Spartans 47, Salesianum 38. Sal's of Salesianum, the Spartans of St. Mark's. Remember, Salesianum will be taking on AI DuPont this Saturday evening down at Newark High School. Salesianum, of course, the Catholic Conference representative as the Catholic Conference champion. But logistically, in the state tournament, they classified the Catholic Conference as non-conference. What's the reasoning for that?
I have no idea. I don't know the answers to all your questions that you give me. There's certain rules and bylaws and all kinds of things that DASA has decided that you have to go by, I guess, and we've probably never taken the time to sit down and do them. At least we didn't when I was coaching, but we call it the Catholic Conference. I don't know why they insist on calling it. The girls have one, and I don't understand why.
Well, not knowing all of the questions has really been withholding your pay raise of late.
That's what's been doing it, huh?
We have 8 minutes of basketball to play from St. Mark's. Salesianum at 18-1, number 1 team in Delaware. They trail the Spartans 47-38. But this is a very, very experienced Salesianum club. 4 starters back from last season. And Seipel inside. He got fouled before the shot. No, he didn't. I'm sorry. It's going to be called...
I think we're going to find out. It's going to be against Seipel reaching over the top. I think we're going to find out right now what the Sallies club's made out of. They've given themselves a test. They've dug themselves into the hole. Now you've got to see what they're going to do with it. You're right. Experience should pay off. It should be interesting to see what happens from here on out. I think we're in for a great finish.
You feel as any way Salesianum came in here a little bit too loose, knowing that they really didn't have to win this ball game, just a tune-up?
I don't think it was so much loose, Steve. I think it was confidence. They're on a 17-game winning streak. They've won the conference early. I think they've come in feeling they were going to win the game. But you've got to be that way this late in the year. Sure. That's not a negative thing that I'm saying against them. You've got to come into the game believing you're going to win it. And they've got to do that from here on out.
Welsh, with an aggressive move, will pick up his second foul on the offensive charge. Now both clubs in the bonus.
That's right, and that's going to definitely work to St. Mark's advantage right now. Sallies had only 2 team fouls with a minute to go in that third quarter, and they picked up 3 awful quick ones. That's going to be a factor as we go into this fourth quarter.
Barry Hart, football pass to Slocum. Got it, and it'll count. Welsh with a personal foul. He has 3. Nice play. Barry Hart coming off the Spartan bench, hooking up with Slocum.
Nice ball, nice play. John broke the man long. You bring one man to the ball, you break one man long, you call his name, or they just look at him and they knows he's gone. And Sallies hasn't had the man back, and that time St. Mark's took advantage of it. They brought the man up and tried to double team.
Chris Slocum now with 9 points. Good balance offensively by the Spartans. Now this crowd at St. Mark's really getting cranked up. 7 minutes left. Ward, nice feed. Seipel made the mistake of putting it on the floor, and here comes St. Mark's. Bianchino, bounce pass, Emmerich. Great play by Phil Hill, but he'll get the foul. Phil Hill pinning the basketball against the glass. And Andy Emmerich will go to the line to shoot 2, but Phil Hill came very, very hard. Looks like he landed around the midsection. Phil Hill really gasping for air now on the court here at St. Mark's. 6:59 to play. And this is something that Angie Rossi talked about before the ball game. This game really meant pride and going undefeated in the conference, being number 1, but probably the biggest key was getting somebody hurt before the state tournament.
He has nightmares about that. He can't have anybody getting hurt. He does have a bench, but I don't think he has a bench that has a caliber of a lot of other teams. I think if there's one weakness that you would find in the Sallies team, it would be that they can't go as deep as a lot of other teams in the tournament. You talk about the game itself and the pride that it means in the conference itself. This is also a big game between the two schools. It's always been one of the greatest rivalries in the state of Delaware. I think it ranks right up there with the Howard-Wilmington rivalry we did last week. It'll rank up there with the Newark-Concord games that we have and the Newark-William Penn games. And this is just a big ball game. It's a game between two schools that have a great relationship between them. It's a strong, hard, competitive relationship. But at the same time, I think whenever these two teams get together, they go at it blood and guts the whole game, but they come away from it always respecting each other. And that's what makes it so much fun when they go against each other.
Phil Hill looks to be okay.
Looked to me, Steve, like he may have came down on his elbow when he went up to block his shot. He got the ball pinned on the board, and then he lost his balance a little bit. Came down. I think it was either his elbow, his hand, or his wrist, or something on that left side that he hurt.
Psychologically now, this could work to the advantage of Salesianum. They've gotten a chance to relax, think things over, and Angie Rossi basically getting a timeout there, something that he did not have to take. This could help Salesianum, thinking one of their top guards, or their top guard and one of their captains on the bench right now.
It could, but it also could hurt them in the fact that they need Phil on the floor. Phil means as much running their offense as Kevin Monagle does running St. Mark's.
Salesianum just has to look on the positive side of things. Emmerich gets the front end. Remember, Emmerich, a 2-shot personal against Phil Hill. And Emmerich now giving St. Mark's a 13-point lead, 51-38.
John's just done a great job getting them ready for this ball game. I can't think of maybe 2 or 3 mistakes that they've made, that they've created, that they shouldn't have done going into the game. Regardless of the outcome of this ball game, he's just done a super job getting the kids ready, and the kids are playing with as much confidence as you would want them to right now.
Drake. Now St. Mark's. Looks like they were back to their half-court press. 6:45 to play. Seipel. Chris will fire and hit. Big field goal for Salesianum. That'll cut the lead to 11, and Seipel almost with another steal. Slocum will break the pressure, and I'm sure we have a timeout here for Dupree on the floor. 6:32 to play, 4th period.
I think at this point what they got to do is they've got to be stopping that, because somebody's going to get hurt. It's got to be enforced. That could be a technical foul, and I'm sure Andy's concerned about that right now, because it's not so much the fact that somebody getting hurt, but it also can work to your advantage. Gives you a chance to set a press up if you want to. So that's something they don't want to be doing, especially getting a technical foul. They don't need that.
Kevin Monagle, nice play by the senior. 6:13 left. Monagle averaging 13 a ball game. His last performance here. Steal by Slocum. Here comes Andy. He's going to go on his own. Link to the floor and hit it. And gets fouled.
You don't like to say it early, but I'll tell you what. These kids don't believe they can do any wrong right now. That was a great move. We saw 3 great moves in a row by 3 different players on St. Mark's. These kids know right now they can win the ball game if they just keep playing the way they are right now. They don't even have to play better than what they're doing right now. They just got to maintain the same tempo that they're playing right now.
Hart to Slocum, or Hart to Emmerich. Monagle with a driving layup, and now Slocum with the driving layup. Recording 6 points for the Spartans, and Slocum will be coming back out to try to convert a 3-point play. It's a 15-point lead now for St. Mark's, 55-40. Quickly updating you on action that will be taking place this weekend. Howard, the Blue Hen Conference #2 club this year, will be taking on Caesar Rodney, the Henlopen Northern Division #2 team. That game will be held either at Seaford or Dover with a 4 p.m. tip. And, Coach, a couple of good clubs matching up in the first round.
Yeah, you got some good first-round matchups, and I think that's because of the balance that you've seen in the state this year. We've mentioned it so many times this year that, and I really believe that this is one of the years where anybody going into the tournament can win it. Every pairing you have and every matchup, especially when you go past the first round and the second and third, it's going to be awful tough to call winners. There's so many teams that are balanced this year. There's so many good coaches in the state of Delaware that are getting their teams ready for a tournament. I think this is where you'll see the big difference.
Phil Hill now gets back in for Salesianum. Drake will sit down. Slocum coming off a very nice play, going 3/4 of the court by himself. Hits the three-pointer.
This is when Sallies has to make their run. Between now and the 4-minute mark, they have to get this under 10. If they don't, they're going to be in an awful lot of trouble at the end of the quarter.
Phil Hill looks to be very healthy now with 5:50 left. Sallies 18-1, undefeated in Catholic Conference play. Here's Welsh inside. Hit it and got fouled. Jim Welsh with 23. That was a big play.
That was a big play, and also the fact that Emmerich now has picked up, I believe that's number 4. I'm not sure, Steve.
Emmerich is picking up.
I'm pretty sure
that's at least 4.
Yeah, that's going to hurt them. They need Andy in there, not only for the fact that it's a big man inside, but the fact that he's also a very good ball handler, and they're going to be able to use him as they get down under this 5-minute mark in the fourth quarter. Jimmy Welsh right now is carrying the Salesianum club. The big difference that we've seen from earlier games is the fact that he's not getting the support that he usually gets from his second, third, and fourth players.
That is 4 personals on Emmerich. This man, Monagle, with 3, and Barry Hart with 4 for St. Mark's. Bianchino, Monagle, 5:28 left. Welsh has 23 for Salesianum. Nice play by Monagle, but Seipel knocked it away. St. Mark's controls, and a foul on Seipel. I'm sorry, Dougie Ward, he's fouled out. That's the 5th personal foul against Doug Ward. And he will sit down, and Drake will come back in. So Ward checking out, and McLaughlin will come in for Salesianum. Also Szymanski. So it's Welsh, Seipel, Hill, Szymanski, and McLaughlin.
Yeah, a lot of people might not understand why I say this, but this might be the best thing that could happen to Sallies before they even go into the tournament. Even though we've talked about how important it is to win a ball game here tonight, maybe they need to realize that they can't come out of the floor and win every ball game, you know, and you got to remember, they lost to Newark and they won 17 games in a row.
5:08 to play. Salesianum, number 1 in the state. They have been there for about 6 weeks. Hill, long jumper, hits it. Now a full court pressure by Salesianum.
This is when they've got to make their run right now. John's got to be concerned that he's got enough timeouts. He can control the game right now. He can control what's going to happen out there, and Sallies has to make their run right now. We've got 5 minutes to go. They're down 12. They've got to keep cutting that lead now.
McGonigal will track down the long pass from Bianchino. 4:45 left. St. Mark's by a dozen, 56-44. They have led throughout the second half. Held an 11-point lead at halftime. Rizak. St. Mark's very patient now. McLaughlin, nice pick by Hart. There's Monagle. 2 of the top guards in the Catholic Conference there, Monagle and Phil Hill.
John's into a delay game. He's looking for a lamp or a back door if he can get it. They're not holding the ball right now to run out the clock. There's no way he can think he can run out with 4 minutes to go. But you got to remember, with a 12-point lead, the clock is working to their advantage right now.
4:10 to play. Salesianum still down by 12. Rizak. Hill almost with a steal. Nice play by Monagle. Monagle, the senior for St. Mark's, captain. Rizak deflected by Seipel, and St. Mark's will control with 3:54 to play. This will undoubtedly be the biggest win for John Fiorelli if he can hang on here. McLaughlin steal. Here's Hill over Monagle. And
don't count him out yet.
It's lost him over. 10-point lead.
John will want to hear that statement, that's for sure.
Monagle.
I've been in games with Sallies where I didn't care what the score was until I heard the buzzer go. Nothing was over. If there's a way Angie can figure out how to score 10 points at once, he'll do it.
3:23 left. Both clubs in the bonus. Rizak down low. Couple of pump fakes, and I believe he walked. Now the turnover is starting to pile up on St. Mark's.
The only thing right now John's got to be cautious of is the fact that if he's going to continue to run the delay a little bit and have him look just for the layup, he can't take him out of their offensive flow of things. Kevin Monagle and Andrew haven't taken shots now for the last 2 minutes. He's got to keep them conscious of going to the basket. He's in control right now.
McLaughlin threw it away, and Slocum walked. That's a break for Salesianum. Sal's will inbound under their own bucket with 3:11 left.
Watch for the lob to Welsh. That's what they're going to look for first, and then they're going to peel cycle off. But they got to watch for Welsh inside.
Hill, McLaughlin. Remember, McLaughlin in there for Ward, who was fouled out. He'll throw it up and hit. That's a big shot for the youngster. McLaughlin, number 31. We did not expect to see him play tonight.
Doing a nice job for him in the present with Dougie Ward on the bench for him too. He's doing a good job defensively on Bianchino, and he's also doing a nice job offensively out front for him.
8-point lead, 56-48. Fiorelli wants a timeout, and a foul will be called on Hill. And now Fiorelli will get his timeout.
John's got to take one right now. He's got to settle the troops down. Angie's trying to make his run. He's got to make them conscious of the fact that Sallies is in foul trouble. He's got to make them take the ball to the basket. Phil Hill now has 4. Doug Ward's fouled out. Chris Seipel, I believe, has 3 inside. John can't lay back. He's got to aggressively go after him. I think that's probably what he is telling his players right now. You can't have your players catching the ball and looking away from the basket, and that's exactly what's happening. They've got to catch the ball, square up to the basket every time. If they don't have their shot, then they'll dump it out. So I think he's got to tell them they've got to reorient themselves a little bit when they're catching the ball.
Hill with 4, Welsh with 3, Seipel with 3 for Salesianum. For St. Mark's, Hart with 4, Emmerich with 4, Hart with 3.
Angie in his huddle's got to be setting himself up defensively for some kind of half-court presses and half-court traps. He's got to definitely be able to do something.
2:38 to play in the ball game. St. Mark's will be on the free throw line here.
These are 2 big fouls right here, Steve. He's got to make them.
Your 2 officials, John Bosick, Bob Immediato. They have worked some big ball games in the past. 56-48. Salesiana by 8 points. I'm sorry, Salesiana trailing by 8 points. Here's Monagle. Kevin shooting 61% on the season from the line. Can't get the front end. And Seipel tracks it down. Here's Phil Hill. Do not leave your set. WNS TV, cable channel 2. We call it the best in high school basketball. I think you're seeing it tonight. Phil Hill hits it. He gets a timeout.
Timeout. Look at the press set up. The crowd has come alive here just a little bit. You can tell things are picking up here at both ends of the floor. Angie's going to take as many timeouts now. The reasoning being he's going to set them up into a full court defense. It's probably going to be a 2-2-1 full court. He's going to drop them back to a half court, probably a 1-3-1 half court press, and then he's going to have to try and trap in the corners. The thing he's probably telling them is, though, is that he doesn't want them fouling. He can't afford to foul right now. He doesn't want to put them on the foul line, but at the same time, they're going to get themselves into a situation where they've got to get the trap and go for the steal. They've come this far now. They've got to keep going aggressively if they want to. John has to spread them out so they can't get double teamed. He's got to put a person in each corner here offensively to break the press with a man in the middle. Once he gets to the cross-half court, though, he's got to be constant keep it out of corners. He's got to tell his people to keep looking inside, though, because that's where he's going to get his opportunities for a layup. A layup right now for St. Mark's is important. If he can get one, I think it's going to break the back of the Sallies rally. 56-50, Salesianum trailing by 6. They have 2 timeouts left. St. Mark's with 4. And those timeouts are going to play a big factor. John can use his to control the tempo of the game. Angie's going to use his to get his presses set up, but he's got to save at least one in case he makes his run and gets down to a last-second situation.
Caught a glimpse there of Angie Rossi, looking for his 100th victory tonight here at St. Mark's. This would be a big one, especially coming from way back. They have trailed by as many as 16 here in the second half. Slocum. Foul on McLaughlin. And that's not a bad play. He's 2 seconds off the clock, and Monago's had trouble from the free throw line tonight. He's got to go all the way back the other way to shoot 1-1.
Right, you've got to make the decision. You've got to decide whether you're going to try and make them beat you from the foul line or whether they're going to beat you from their shooting. Andrew right now feels that he's got to beat him from the foul line. St. Mark's has not shot well from the foul line this year. Kevin Doe has been coming on lately and being a good foul shooter for him, but this is the decision Angie's made.
Kevin Monago.
These are the kinds of things you try and pick up when you scout teams. You've got to find out whether late in the game if they're a foul shooting team or if they're the kind of team that likes to hold the ball and run a timeout.
Monago with 14 points.
2 big makes right there for Kevin.
Here comes Hill. 2:20 left. McLaughlin. Kicking violation. Louisiana will control. McLaughlin's tried to force that bounce pass inside on several occasions here in the fourth quarter. 58-50. Hill with Kevin Monago. Seipel. Can't get it. Slocum there. Emmerich control.
Big rebound by Emmerich.
Here comes Monago. He'll slow it down. And fire. And hit. Kevin Monago with 16. Spartans by 10, 60-50.
That's a great shot right there. That's the one they need.
Good Welsh. Good play by Welsh, and the experienced Salesiana Sal's get another timeout. They take their fourth, and now they trail by 8 at 60-52. Welsh with 25 points. This is what you get paid for now. You got to figure out how to make up 8 points in a minute and 50 seconds. You're either a hero or a goat, one or the other. But that's the great thing about coaching. You're never in the middle of the road. You got to make your decisions and you got to stick by them. And right now you're seeing 2 guys that are trying to figure out what the other one's doing. They've seen each other play so many times they could probably switch huddles right now and run each other's clubs. We used to kid about that all the time, but that's the way it is as you get into coaching and you get used to seeing certain teams and their patterns. And we all used to laugh about as coaches, but that's the truth. The trick is to figure out to do something different that the guy's not expecting. Each of these guys right now has one thing in their pocket that the other hasn't seen. And what Angie's going to do right now is probably pull that one thing out that John hasn't seen. On the other hand, John's going to have to probably use whatever he's got that he's worked on all week that Angie hasn't seen. Louisiana now will go with the 3-guard offense. Drake, McLaughlin, Hill, Seipel, and Welsh remain out there in the front court for the Sal's. Down by 8. Bianchino gets double teamed, but Monago will break the press now. And McLaughlin will pick up the foul, reaching behind. McLaughlin picking up his third. Szymanski will come back in. Drake sitting down. Basically for rebounding and offensive play from Szymanski. 1:46 to play. Monago now with more pressure. Barry Hart will come off the Spartan bench, and Andy Emmerich will get a break.
Putting in another ball handler, and also the fact he doesn't want Andrew Emmerich to pick up that 5th foul. It's a good move that time. He'll use Barry defensively and then offensively to help break the press.
Monago cannot get the front end. Seipel tipping. Welsh controls, and a foul against St. Mark's. The last thing the Spartans wanted, because Welsh, a very good free throw shooter, will walk the other way and try to cut the lead to 6.
Didn't want that one. Didn't use up any time. Put Barry Hart in a little bit further foul trouble as if he wasn't in enough already. And, John doesn't want that. The one thing that St. Mark's doesn't want to do right now is foul. Every time the clock ticks, it ticks in their favor.
Hart now with 4. Emmerich with 4. Jim Welsh with 25, leading all scorers. And again, he's looking into that open end here at St. Mark's. Could be a factor. Welsh has it come out. Monago with a big rebound. And a foul on Drake. So Monaco will get another chance. Kevin with 16 points.
Both teams giving themselves a little bit of a breather right now. All we're simply doing is walking up one end of the floor and shooting fouls and going down the other. And that's going to work to St. Mark's advantage, really, because the more they get the chance to catch their breath a little bit, it gives them a little bit more stamina to hold that ball down the offensive end. You can't foul Kevin Monagle too many times. He's too good of a shooter. And right now, what they've decided is they're going to try and put him on the line as much as possible. John's doing a nice job of getting the ball in his hands as much as possible. And he's missing them, but at the same time, he's getting there enough to make enough for him.
Monagle getting 1 of 2. A 9-point lead now for St. Mark's. 1:30 to play. Still time for Salesianum. Phil Hill. Can't get it. Hill, great offensive board. Put it up, can't score. Seipel there, won't fall, but he got fouled. That would have been a big one because Seipel could have cut the margin to 6, but now he will have to shoot 2 free throws.
Good board strength that time by Sallies. That's the kind of things that has made them have the kind of year they've had, and we haven't seen a lot of that tonight. They haven't been hitting those offensive boards as hard as they should be. St. Mark's that time did a little bit too much standing around waiting for something to happen. They've got to still go aggressively after the ball. The game's not over yet, and they've got to take the ball from Sallies. They can't let them just dominate the boards.
St. Mark's has lost the services of Barry Hart. He is disqualified with 5 personals. Emmerich now back in. He has 4. Seipel to shoot 2. Chris will get the front end. Lead now at 8. Seipel with 9 points. Coming in, averaging a dozen. Gets 1 of 2. Emmerich clearing the board. And Monagle fouled again by McLaughlin. So Monagle has been the man of the hour of late for St. Mark's in several pressure situations down the stretch here. 1:23 to play.
I don't think this is the guy they want to be putting on the line. I think Angie over there right now is talking to Mr. McLaughlin, letting him know that even if Kevin's not a good foul shooter, you can't send the same man to the line that many times. He's got to get himself into a rhythm and into a little bit of a routine. They probably wanted to get Emmerich that time, but Andy Emmerich did a nice job of dumping the ball off. They can afford to let him. It's a couple seconds go off if it's going to mean foul a different man.
Monagle.
Kevin's got himself into too good of a routine and a rut right now to be missing these fouls, and that's exactly what's happening.
McLaughlin has picked up his 4th. And Monagle can give the Spartans a 10-point lead. That's it. Monagle with 18 points, leading St. Mark's. Phil Hill. Dance in the lane, off glass and hit. Sallies has 1 timeout left. They won't take it there.
Can't take it yet. They don't want to use it up yet.
Seipel. Emmerich had Rizak open, but St. Mark's will slow it down, and Welsh will pick up the personal foul. And that is close to an intentional foul. See what the call is from John Bosick.
Should be. I don't know if he's going to call it.
1-1. Welsh has picked up his 4th. Slocum now will shoot 1-1. Welsh with 4. Hill with 4. And Slocum can't hit. Welsh with the ball. Szymanski. 1 minute to play. Szymanski will bring it up on his own. Seipel with heat. Can't get it. And Slocum with the rebound and a foul, I believe, on McLaughlin. And that should be 5 on McLaughlin. McLaughlin will check out with his 5th, and Drake will check back in, the sophomore.
I'll say one thing. He didn't start, but he sure got his money's worth here tonight. That young man was all over the floor, and he did a nice job for Angie off the bench. He fouled out, but that's because he's the front man in that press, and he did the job that he had to do, and that's the kind of thing you need from somebody coming off the bench.
51 seconds left. Salesianum trailing 63-55 to St. Mark's. The Spartans at 10-7. Over on the season right now at 2-3 in the Catholic Conference. And Slocum can't convert. Still not over. Phil Hill with 45 seconds. Phil, 15-footer. Can't get it. That's a big one. Knocked out of bounds by St. Mark's.
It's an amazing thing about when these two teams play. You'd think an 8-point lead with 40 seconds is safe. We played here 2 years ago, and we had a 6-point lead with 30 seconds to go, and the score ended up tied, and we had to win it in double overtime. So anything can happen.
Monagle with the steal. He'll go on Drake, and Drake will pick up the personal foul, his 4th, with 35 seconds to play. Salesianum has been whistled for 16 personal fouls here in the second half. And the reason for a good number of those personals has just been playing catch-up. Monagle, he has 19 points now for St. Mark's. And Coach, this is the state championship for St. Mark's. They can't make the tournament, but anytime they can end the season by beating Salesianum, it's got to be a big feather in everyone's cap here at St. Mark's.
Big boost. Sure it is. It's a big step for the program itself, and the kids got to really be pleased with it. And it's a shame that they don't get to go to a tournament when they tie for second place. But again, that's a decision that's already been made. And yes, it will leave them with a good feeling, and they ought to have a good feeling, especially when they look at a tournament field and know they also beat 4 or 5 teams that are in the tournament field as well. So that's like I said, you can't just base your season on going to the tournament and whether you had a great year or bad year. John had a super year, regardless whether in the tournament or not.
Remember, St. Mark's beat Newark.
They beat Newark, they beat William Penn, they lost to Concord by 2. They lost to Wilmington by 6.
That's one of the games we had here on Channel 2. Rizak, nice play by Chris Seipel. But Bianchino will track it down. St. Mark's by 9, 65-56. Slocum gets bumped by Seipel. And Chris Slocum will go to the free throw line. He will be shooting 1-1.
I think you can congratulate John now. 16 seconds, 9-point lead with a man on the line. The reason why you can congratulate him now is because of the fact he's got 4 timeouts. They don't even have to break half court probably the next time they get the ball. So I don't know what Angie's going to pull out of his hat now, but if he does, it's going to take a miracle.
Salesianum has taken their last timeout. They have 5, of course, in the ball game. 16 seconds left. St. Mark's 65, Salesianum 56. Angie Rossi going to fall short of his bid for his 100th victory. But I'm sure the Sows will come out very strong this Saturday evening down at Newark to take on the Tigers of AI.
First slam we've seen tonight.
That was nice.
Nice percentage shot. I've seen them miss that. When things were going bad the one year, even the cheerleaders missed the dunk. That's when you knew you were in trouble.
Lou Bender sitting right next to it. That happened to him in the state championship game last year.
That's right. That's an omen. If something like that happens, you call in the troops, you circle the wagons, and go back on downstairs. It happened in a pre-game here 2 years ago when we played Howard, and I knew we were in trouble when they started the game off and missed the dunk. That and the national anthem broke halfway through.
That can hurt your chances.
Kevin Monagle doesn't look too happy over there, does he? Smiling over here right now?
I don't know. Said something about an interview.
He's probably glad I'm sitting over here instead of on the other side, because I'd probably be yelling at him right now about the fouls he missed.
16 seconds left, and Chris Slocum now will be shooting 1-1. Hits the front end.
Super kid. It makes you feel good when you come in here and see the kids do well. You know, you miss working with them, and I spend an awful lot of time with all those kids, and I'm glad to see that, you know, they can come away from this game feeling so good about themselves and the season they had. I know they're a little bit down last week when I talked to them after the Archmere game, but they're on top of the world right now.
Phil Hill with 10 seconds left. It's Academic from St. Mark's High School. And Slocum up court, Bianchino. He'll fire and get fouled with 3 seconds left.
With the way he's been shooting, I don't know how he didn't make that thing. He's probably wondering too.
He had some eyes. Bianchino now with 17 points for St. Mark's. Remember, he had 9 in the second period. That's the story. 10-point lead for the Spartans with 3 seconds left. The final game for St. Mark's. They will finish their season at 11-7 overall in the season. And remember, they had a game snowed out against Howard, and I believe also a game that was canceled against Marble Newtown.
Another problem.
Another problem. Those out-of-state schools, we can have a hard time.
They're all from the same area up there, Steve. So.
3 seconds left. Real quick, remember your state tournament this weekend. Concord will be taking on Laurel at Del Castle, 8 p.m. tip. Howard will be taking on CR at Seaford or Dover at 4 o'clock. Salesianum will be taking on AI at Newark at 8. Woodbridge will be taking on Dickinson at Seaford at 8. Wilmington will be taking on Sussex Central at Newark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And the Newark Yellow Jackets will be taking on Sanford, the Independent Conference champ, at Del Castle at 4. Cape Henn Lopen will be traveling to Dover to take on Archmere at 8, and William Penn will take on Laurel at Dover at 4. Phil Hill at the gun. Cannot get the field goal, and Salesianum has lost their second game of the season. They finish at 18-2 overall, and more importantly, they have their 17-game winning streak snapped, and also most likely will lose their #1 rating in Delaware. But we got to talk about St. Mark's. John Fiorelli, a big victory. He goes out 11-7 with a 10-point victory over the Sallies of Salesianum.
Big win. That was a great win. Great win for St. Mark's. And I'll tell you what, you remember I said this. I think this loss might have done more good for Sallies going into a tournament than a big win tonight. I just believe that. I think maybe the kids needed it. I think they've got to sit back now and take a look at what they did wrong. They've got to take a look at the fact that they're going to go into a tournament losing to a team that's not even in it right now. And they've got to realize they've got to go on the floor just like everybody else and give 120%. I'm sure a lot of the seniors are wondering that right now from Sallies. I really don't feel that we saw the Sallies team that you've seen on here earlier in the year. I think that it's got to do some good for them. They've got to look at it in a positive type of light. The St. Mark's kids, I think they're going to be a little bit down because I think talking to them, they really felt they had a shot at going to the tournament still if they won here tonight. They haven't gotten that news yet. That's not going to go over well. Sure. But then again, on the other hand, if they had played like this in their last couple of conference games, they would have been assured that second berth. So you can look at it one of two ways. I'm happy for the year John's had and the big win they had here tonight. And the other big thing is that I'm happy about is that Angie's had a super year. So you come away from it like all the games we've done all year. Everybody's happy.
St. Mark's, a big victory. Kevin Monagle playing in his last game here as a senior. That's your story from St. Mark's. Spartans over Salesianum 66-56. We will return right after this pause. Monagle, big victory for St. Mark's tonight, 66-56 over the Salesianum Sal's. And Andrew, got to be your biggest one since you've been here at St. Mark's.
Yes, it is. Like we worked all year just to beat Sallies at the end of the year, and we gave them all we got tonight.
Did you know in the locker room that you did not have a chance to get in the playoffs before the game?
No, we did not. Mr. Fiorelli told us, if we win, we play Archmere tomorrow for a playoff to get in the States.
We still proved ourselves.
Kevin, yeah, it had to be a psychological builder, knowing that you still had a shot to get in. In reality, you really didn't, but you proved a big victory tonight. And a good club this year. You started off very strong, had a little stretch there mid-season, you had some trouble, but overall it's a real strong ball club.
It's just the way we've been hanging together all season as a team. We had little problems and just stuck together, and just the way it ended. It's the best way.
Andy, nice crowd on hand here at St. Mark's tonight. The home crowd following really helped you guys.
Yeah, I was surprised there was that many people. Like, we had a sale, 50 cents for everyone who wore green and gold, and you could see a lot of green and gold up there. For a change, it was great to have a lot of people there.
Andy, 17. Kevin, 20 points tonight, leading all St. Mark's scorers. Good luck.
Thank you
with your future. Thank you very much. All righty, Coach John Fiorelli. John over here getting all kinds of interviews. John, big win tonight. Now, what'd you tell the ball club? I know last night there was some concern whether or not you could go to the tournament with a win, tying Archmere. What was the feeling on the ball club beforehand?
Well, we really thought that win would get us into the state tournament. I talked to Coach Philliman last night over at our Catholic Conference meeting, and he thought that in the past that there was a rule, not a written rule, saying that any two teams that tied would have a playoff regardless of the games that happened during the season. So we really thought we had a shot tonight, and I don't know. I don't want to think about it right now because it takes away so much from the big win. If this is the way that we have to end our season, you can't think of a better way. Well, I guess a nice win in the state tournament would be even better. But this team was rated #1, and they had really beaten us badly the first time over there. So
Sure.
Coming back and beating them at our place was just one of the best things that could have happened to the team.
Coach Thompson, you coached up here last night with the same man. This is a big win tonight for St. Mark's, and this is the state championship for the Spartans.
It's a great win for the school and a great win for John. He didn't do anything wrong tonight. I came over here ready to question everything he was doing, but I guess he learned well enough. And, John, I just got to compliment you on a great win. You did a super job getting the kids ready, and you should really be proud of the job you did and what the kids did here tonight.
Well, thank you. I guess you do know, Joe, that we have 7 seniors on the team, and all the seniors were part of a system developed by Joe Thompson and Tom Rosa. I felt really fortunate in getting the head coaching job. The 7 seniors on the team right now and the other players are all just such self-motivated players that it's sort of easy. When you have a kid like Kevin Monagle and Andrew Bianchino and you put them out on the court, it's like having two more coaches out on the floor. They just take charge and they do whatever you ask, and they're just an easy team to coach. I can't take a whole lot of credit because they're just such good kids and hustle and know how to play the game of basketball.
Coach, getting into the game a little bit, there seemed to be everybody was waiting for a point for Salesian to explode the way they did last week against Sanford. But every time Sal started to come on, you came up with a big field goal, a couple of big free throws, a big steal. The entire ball game, you played 4 full quarters tonight.
Yeah, I was waiting for something like that to happen too. Coach was saying that we went to Coach Thompson was saying we went to a stall with 5 minutes left. It may have looked like a stall. Sallies was jump trapping us out at half court, and our guards didn't react real well, and we didn't take the ball to the basket, and that sort of got us out of our pattern. But we reacted well to it when it really counted. We made our foul shots at the end. Feel really good for Kevin in making his foul shots because a couple games he felt bad that he missed a few crucial foul shots at the end, but he really showed his mettle as a player tonight.
One more.
One more. John, you've beaten an awful lot of teams in the tournament. Who do you like going into it?
Believe it or not, Sallies. They've been kind of down. I know they had a big win over Loose Club the other night. I'm going to be pulling for Sallies. I mean, what can I say? Angie's a good friend of mine. I like the kids on Sally's team. They represent. I think they're going to represent the conference well. And regardless of who the second team is, I do like Sally's chances.
Good job tonight, John Fiorelli. Big win. All righty. John Fiorelli, 10-point victory over Salesian tonight. Again, your final score: St. Mark 66, Salesian 56. And quickly, Coach, Angie Rossi really has to get his club back down to earth and really start playing. You said it right at the end of the game. It could be a positive factor for this club.
I wouldn't want to be in Sally's gym tomorrow. I think, but I shouldn't say that. They've had a great year, and I think Angie's going to get them ready for the tournament. This is the kick in the tail they needed, and I don't think I'd like to be AI Saturday night.
Okay, for Joe Thompson, this is Steve Turnberger saying so long from St. Mark's High School. Remember, our next game will be a semifinal matchup. We'll air it on Friday, March the 11th, and of course we'll be in the Fieldhouse on Saturday, March the 12th. Your final score: St. Mark's 66, Salesianum 56. Tonight's game is sponsored by Vito's Spaghetti and Pizza House. Visit Vito's for all your Italian favorites along with a full bar. Vito's in the Crossroads Shopping Center in Newcastle.